Alright everyone, it's time for Vermont Issues Episode 1, a new series I decided to go into probably like once or twice a week, do specifically news from Vermont, commentary on like Vermont issues, as well as like politics when election time rolls around. Got to talk about, gubernatorial candidates, stuff like that. Bernie Sanders, who everyone knows his name at this point. They either think he's wonderful or they think he's Satan incarnate at this point, I think. But it's time to inaugurate this with the topic of third-hand smoke, which is an interesting one that's risen up in our discourse in this state recently. You see it on social media, gets posted about a lot. Sort of Vermont leading the charge in these anti-smoking campaigns. Like UVM banned cigarettes on campus. The city of Burlington banned cigarettes on certain streets. Like, including, I think, on balconies, like, above the street. Like, you have to smoke indoors or in your car or something. You also can't smoke in a car with a minor, which I actually support. Like, if you're transporting a kid around, you shouldn't be exposing them in an enclosed area. Even like, with the windows open and stuff, it's potentially hazardous. You don't want to fuck your kid up, give him cancer or something. And then how do you feel? Cigarettes wouldn't take care of that level of stress. Here are some thoughts, though. The idea of third-hand smoke has been developed recently. It's an invention, really, that any area that's being smoked in, there's a residue left behind that itself is potentially hazardous. I am slightly skeptical of this claim. I'm slightly skeptical that if an area is just infrequently smoked in and happens to be enclosed, that's causing a public health crisis. I think certainly if you're in an enclosed area smoking actively around another person, it's a health hazard. As far as in the open air on the street, I would class it basically as like, well, the automobiles are driving by, they're releasing exhaust. Nobody's declaring that a public health emergency. Somebody wanders down the street smoking a cigar, all of a sudden it's a big problem. I think that's gone a little bit too far too. As far as sort of the anti-smoking campaigns, though, that we have here, they're a new thing. It's really, we've seen this from, I think it's Vermont Quits that puts these ads out, especially on Facebook. They're like, oh, tobacco companies are targeting little kids by having like different flavors and colorful wrappers and stuff, and we need to stop this because we don't want our kids to smoke. As far as I'm aware, the youth is still smoking at lower and lower and lower rates by year than the general population. It's getting less and less prevalent. So if that's a propaganda tactic by the tobacco companies, it's not exactly the Flintstones Winston ad or something like that. It appears to have failed. I would say this, there are plenty of things. Alcohols are marketed in nice bright colors. Alcohol is on the shelves there. Some kid walks by, there's a rack of beer and there's a bunch of wine and stuff. Bright colored labels with lots of happy sugary flavors, hard lemonade. Or anything like that under the sun. Oh, get your mojito. And is that advertising to children? Because it happens to not just be, oh, this is beer-flavored beer. That's wine-flavored wine. This is really, really harsh liquor. It's like it's going to burn your throat. No, it's not being marketed to children any more than these tobacco products are. The fact is, a lot of people that smoke tobacco, they want those flavored products, but they're almost entirely over 18. The number of people under 18 now smoking, especially in Vermont, where the quitting programs have really worked wonders, is fairly low. Like you're almost like an outcast leper if you're under 18 and you're actually smoking. Now, including socially. Now, as an aside, there's no such thing as that. If you're smoking at all, even if, I just went to the party and I had a cigarette, you're running the risk of addiction. You probably shouldn't be doing that. If you're not addicted, don't smoke. Great words of wisdom, I think. It's like, what the fuck are you thinking? It's a terrible idea. Yeah, maybe you don't get addicted, but maybe you do. Do you want to run that risk and fuck up your lungs? But our anti-smoking campaigns here, I think, become less effective when they go into the clickbait route. And we've seen this continuously. Government agencies have been doing this for a long time. They've done it like with pot. Oh, reefer madness. You'll crash your car, you'll rape your girlfriend, you'll kill people. And it doesn't actually happen. Likewise, with tobacco, we need to divorce ourselves, I think, of the idea that tobacco is Satan. We need to look at it as what it really is. It is an addictive and harmful substance. That doesn't mean that in all incarnations it's automatically being marketed to your kids or that the mere presence of it at some point in the recent past means that you're going to get like skin cancer from touching a surface that was near a smoker. You're trying to drum up a level of propaganda about people who smoke tobacco that is akin to what we would have seen maybe 10, 15 years ago about people who took marijuana. Oh yeah, they'll probably abduct your kids to fund their habit. They're probably going to end up on heroin. It's going to make they'll get AIDS. All of these things that were said, and none of them were actually accurate. None of them ever made sense. We've got this weird situation here where the state of Vermont's saying, okay, go ahead and toke up marijuana. Smoke that all you want, as long as you're of age, and go ahead and market your edibles, and you can have all sorts of bubblegum flavored marijuana and blueberry flavored marijuana and all sorts of wonderful marijuana snacks and stuff. Just eat and smoke up, boys. And then they talk about tobacco, and they declare it Satan, say, oh, we shouldn't be marketing it to kids, which they're not anyway. Now, I don't really care if people smoke weed either. Like, just don't blow it in my face because I think it smells weird. If you want to smoke weed or if you're a tobacco smoker, it should be fine. Like, the state should take a hands-off approach. But for them to say, oh, well, we're going to ban, like, everything that's not just cigarettes or normal-looking cigars. Well, then why aren't you doing that with all the microbreweries in this state? Alcoholism is also a huge problem. People get liver failure, people crash their cars, people fucking beat their wives. Those are put behind nice, bright labels with pictures of tropical fruit and flavors like, oh, yeah, it's a lemon shandy, and this is watermelon honeydew beer, and this is, what is it, cotton candy vodka and stuff like that. So that can be marketed. You're not doing any campaign against it, apparently have no problem with it. But tobacco, if they like have anything other than a black pack for the tobacco that says you will get cancer if you even look at these, suddenly it becomes a problem. I think the two public health crises generated respectively from tobacco and alcohol are roughly similar. They're roughly the same. They're killing huge numbers of people. And it's true. You know, people drink themselves to death or they go crash their car. People smoke, they get lung cancer, they get heart failure, something like that at elevated rates. It kills a lot of people. But that doesn't mean that Thirdhand, that's like saying, oh, well, the beer residue left behind from you drinking your Budweiser is a public health crisis. No, it's not. No, it's really not. There's Thirdhand smoke is sort of this weird mythological idea, and I think they're drumming this up so that they can justify, hey, let's render smokers as essentially being lepers. So what's next? You can't smoke while driving. You can't smoke in your own home, potentially, if there's anybody else there. Like, basically, screw you, move out of the state if you're addicted. Why don't we take up the same line that, by the way, we have, and it's been working, that we do with other substances in the more enlightened parts of the country, like the state of Vermont, as far as the drug situation goes, more enlightened, probably, than some of the states out there, and try to get people treatment. Try to wean them off of their addiction. Do more research into ways to do that. Give out the patch. Give out Nicorette gum, whatever it happens to be, try to get people to quit. But attempting to browbeat them, stressing them out more, no less, by trying to make them into lepers so that they're almost going to hide the fact that they smoke from anyone that they're around because they don't want to be like profile. Oh, I know I'm a tobacco user. That means the state fucking hates me or something. That's not the way to go about it. It's not going to cause anyone to quit smoking. Talking about it's not going to prevent anyone from starting either. Like, you think the average person that is young and they start smoking, you think that they were given some, like, oh, this is cotton candy tobacco. It's okay because it's, like, sugared or something. And so they started smoking that? No, they got a cigarette from a friend. It was 99% of the time, it was just a regular cigarette. Someone handed him a Marlboro. Someone handed him a Winston or something. Hey, here's a pack of Fortunas or something like that. That's how they got addicted to tobacco. You know, then maybe they were partying. They had a little bit to drink. Hey, you want a cigarette? Yeah, I'll try one this time. It's only one cigarette. Something like that. It's not because somebody marketed some product to little kids. Hey, here's candy cigarettes. I remember the old days of the 90s when you can get like candy cigars and stuff. And it's chocolate and stuff. It's like they were trying to claim, oh, this causes people to smoke and feel less negatively towards tobacco products. No, it's a piece of fucking candy. It just happens to look a little bit like a cigar or a cigarette. Now, I ate them at the time. That didn't turn me into a smoker. That comes a lot later. So I think that We need to refocus the anti-smoking campaigns on things that are sane and have been proven to work, like giving people addiction treatment. Here's the patch. Here's therapy here. We'll give you $20 if you go a week without smoking, that sort of thing. You do that, it lowers the rate. Yeah, you should be telling kids it's a terrible idea to take up smoking. Hey, little Jimmy, you want tumors in your lungs? Yeah, just have a pack or something like that. That works. Show you, it's one of the few scare campaigns the government and educational facilities have ever pledged themselves to that actually works. Is like showing kids lung cancer slides and stuff like that. That actually does work a little. You know, it doesn't work for any other drug. You say, oh, well, little Jimmy smoked weed, now look at him. And there's a picture of Jimmy, and he's like in a jail cell. He's missing an arm. He's all screwed up. He's got like hepatitis because he dropped the soap and stuff. That sort of scaremongering doesn't work because people can see right through it. With tobacco, they already know it's bad for them. You reinforce that by showing them some scary pictures. Yeah, maybe it keeps a few people from smoking. Well, you know what's not going to stop people from smoking? Rambling about third-hand smoke. Like it's an issue. Now, you should be worried about first-hand smoke, as in people actually smoking. You're worried about tobacco residue, have fewer smokers. What's the way to do that? Get them treatment. Just like any other person who's addicted to some sort of substance. There shouldn't be this stigma that because it's legal and because it's a yucky habit to have, there shouldn't be this stigma of people that smoke like they're doing something wrong by being a smoker, endangering everybody around them. That's not going to work. It's not going to stop them from smoking. They're going to say, okay, screw it, I'm going to smoke twice as much. Maybe I can kill off one of these bureaucrats that have these crazy ideas with my third-hand smoke. I'm going to go smoke out in front of the legislative building every day. I'm going to give you all cancer, something like that. It just doesn't work. So yeah, there was the inaugural episode of sort of the Vermont issues thing. It'll probably be fairly frequent that I make these, because I want to branch out specifically into like the local news stuff as well. I find it interesting. I have to live in this state, in this region. I'll talk about New Hampshire a bit too, maybe upstate New York. Not Maine though. Yeah. I don't want to talk about moose all day. Let's just say that. That's about all. Peace out.